Chapter 1206. Bayan looked at Gu Mengmeng in surprise. What are you talking about? Gu Mengmeng lowered her head. I know you must be very angry. That's right, if someone barges into my Snake King Valley and roasts my little snakes to eat, I will definitely be very angry too. I might even put the other party on the fire to roast, ha. Bayan chuckled. You are someone she called over. What's the big deal about eating a few scorpions? You are so timid. This is unlike her. Then you are not angry. Bayan shook his head. I sincerely called them over for you to eat. It's fine if you are afraid. Gu Mengmeng heaved a sigh of relief. Her father really did not lie to her. This Master Bayan was really good at doing whatever he wanted. But thinking about it, Snake seemed to have done something similar before. He picked up a little snake beside him and asked if she wanted to eat it. He even said in all seriousness that, I heard snake meat is very nutritious, the stray beasts paying tribute will only come again in half a month. So if you are hungry during this period, you can only rely on your own abilities to find food. Both of you came from here. You should know the rules, right? Bayan glanced at Oratin and Wabi. His gaze was filled with a chilly smile. Yes. Oratin nodded expressionlessly as a reply. Leave this little thing by my side. I will look after it. But your food, settle it yourselves. With that, Bayan grabbed Gu Mengmeng by the back of her neck and pulled her out from Elvis's arms. He placed her at the side. Then, he looked at Gu Mengmeng. Does she have any message for you to pass on to me? This sheet was naturally referring to Wang Xiaoxin. But, what message was there to pass on? She had never seen Wang Xiaoxin before. The sorrow of separation was told to her by her father's own daughter. Her actions were seen on TikTok. If she said no, judging from Higgins' expectant eyes, would he kill her if he was unhappy? Damn it. She clearly had the powers of a beast king. Why couldn't she use it when facing him? She felt so passive. Gu Mengmeng was so flustered. Bayan stared at Gu Mengmeng for a long time. Seeing that she did not speak, he sighed. I know. I will ask her myself after everything is settled. Gu Mengmeng laughed and did not say a word. He didn't expect that even an old monster that had lived for more than 1,000 years would believe in the beast deity's embrace after death. What do you want to eat? I'll get some for you, Higgin asked softly. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and said, Don't bother, my partner will take care of me. Them. Bayan smiled lightly, and said, In Fedaden City, with just them alone, who knows who is whose food? Gu Mengmeng felt her scalp go numb and asked, What do you mean? Higgin raised his eyebrows and smiled. How dare you come to the Mecca desert without knowing anything? Should I call you brave and fearless, or reckless and ignorant? So what exactly does it mean? Gu Mengmeng felt even more uneasy. Bayan chuckled and said, Every month, stray beasts would come to Fedaden City to pay a tribute of food, and all the beast men in the city would fight for it with their own strength. But how much food do you think the stray beasts can bring? Is it enough to feed an entire city? Gu Mengmeng shook her head instinctively. Higgin chuckled and asked casually, What do you think we should do when we don't have enough food? Chapter 1207. Bayan raised his head and smiled like a red spider lily blooming in hell, charming and dangerous. Survival of the fittest, the winner gets to eat alone. You are either the hunter or the hunted. F*******. Going out to kill or be killed, was that what it meant? No wonder the person sitting on the city gate spoke so strangely and the stares she felt when she entered were so strange. It was not a misunderstanding, she was really being treated as food. Although she was used to eating things like lions, tigers and bears, Gu Mengmeng really could not overcome the psychological barrier of eating orcs. Uncle Bayan. Gu Mengmeng decided to abandon her dignity and act cute. Bayan clicked his tongue and said, I will call the scorpion, or you can call the snake. Choose. Scorpion. Gu Mengmeng decided without hesitation. Because she could understand snake language now, eating a snake in front of her was no different from eating a human. In the past, she did not dare to eat snakes because she was afraid of them, but now she really could not bring herself to do it. Bayan was just about to move his jaw when Gu Mengmeng immediately pulled his arm and said, small. I am scared if there are too many. The word helpless on Bayan's face made Gu Mengmeng smile awkwardly. She had no choice, the sight of the scorpion swarming over like a tidal wave was too scary. They were not filming the Grave Robbers Chronicles, there was no need for such terrifying special effects. With two gurgling sounds, 70 to 80 scorpions gathered over. Because they were bigger, they looked rather scary. But Gu Mengmeng, who had been frightened by the scene just now, did not jump up. She just nodded and said, Wabi, smack them to death. Wabi glanced at Bayan and did not dare to make a move. Bayan rubbed Gu Mengmeng's head and said, let me do it. That would be so embarrassing. Gu Mengmeng said as she rubbed her little hands together. Her face was beaming and her eyes were filled with the words please start your performance. She said one thing but meant another. Bayan did not say much and just stood up to walk to the center of the scorpions. He gently moved his fingers and all the scorpions were like toys without batteries, instantly losing all signs of life. Leah knew about Gu Mengmeng's cooking method in the afternoon, so he picked up the scorpions one by one to cook, not letting Gu Mengmeng tire herself out. Bayan used his fingernail to cut his finger and wiped a trace of blood from everyone's mouth. Eat it and you won't be afraid of the scorpion's venom. The males did as they were told without hesitation. The disparity in strength meant that Higgin had no reason to lie to them. If he wanted them dead, he could probably just stare at them. Bayan sat beside Gu Mengmeng, his cold gaze landing on Gu Mengmeng's face, as if he was looking at someone through her. Gu Mengmeng thought that since they were both from the modern world, she might have some of Wang Xiaoxin's unique aura. Uncle Higgin, aren't you busy? Then hurry up and go. After you are done, you can bring me to find the heart of the desert. Bayan leaned his body backwards with his elbows supporting the back of his body. He looked like a demonic cult leader lying on the battlefield, bewitching and terrifying. He glanced sideways, his gaze calm and not sharp. He was clearly smiling but no one could guess his emotions. He hooked his finger at Gu Mengmeng and said, little girl, let me tell you a story, how about that? Gu Mengmeng was stunned. Chapter 1208. Once upon a time, there was a scorpion living in the desert. He had no memories, no name, no companions, and no heart. Living had no meaning to him, similarly, death had no meaning. So he did not seek to live, nor did he seek to die. He just lived on aimlessly. Until one day, another person appeared in the desert. She squatted in front of him and poked his poisonous tail with her finger, saying to him, hey, are you lonely? Are you lonely? But the scorpion did not understand. What is loneliness? Is it a specific grain of sand in the desert or a piece of cloud drifting in the sky? Bayan's eyes sparkled because of this sentence. In that instant, everything in the world lost its color. Gu Mengmeng looked at Bayan, who was telling the story like a storyteller, but kept himself out of it, as if he was telling someone else's story. Gu Mengmeng was a little lost in thought. Towards Wang Xiaoxin, Gu Mengmeng's impression was that of a joker who used a book of 300 poems of the Tang dynasty to fool the Snow Fox tribe for thousands of years. She was a cruel woman who dug out Whale's heart with her own hands. She was a crazy woman who gave birth to a son just to use him to open the doors of time and space. But, in Bayan's eyes, she must have a most beautiful side that no one else knew. Gu Mengmeng did not interrupt Bayan and just listened quietly. Her hand was bleeding, but she did not care at all. She just sat on the ground and said beside the scorpion, "What a coincidence, I'm also alone. Do you want to accompany me? Accompany me to wait for someone." This time, I accompanied her for 13 winters and summers. She never said who she was waiting for, nor did she say how long she was waiting for. She just taught the scorpion how to evolve into a human, how to level up, and how to find green bricks to build a house in this endless desert when she had nothing to do. In the end, she built a city here and named it Fedaten. In beast language, it means return date. The person she was waiting for did not come, but her son did. After the mother and son met, they clearly recognized each other, but did not exchange a single word. They just looked at each other, then she threw a little snake to her son. Her son then carried the little snake and left. Gu Mengmeng frowned. So Snake had been here and met Wang Xiaoxin, but why did she not have any relevant memories? Bian continued to narrate the story in a nonchalant tone. His gaze landed on Wabiai for a moment and darkened. He clearly knew Gu Mingming's doubts, but he did not answer her and just continued. After her son left, she said to the scorpion, "I'll give you a name, Higgin." It was a kind of flower, and the flower language was the gentleness of the devil. When the flower blooms, one red and one white, both symbolize death. However, the white mandala blooms on the road to heaven, while the red mandala blooms on the road to hell. Guard hell for me. If someone comes here with my entrustment in the future, give her this mandala and let her help me bring that person back. Bai An's gaze landed on Gu Mingming's face. He was clearly smiling, but it made Gu Mengmeng feel miserable. Gu Mengmeng could not understand her own feelings. His eyes and lips were filled with bliss, but this bliss had a heart-wrenching bleakness to it. Chapter 1209. I don't know when it started, but the stray beasts gradually stepped into this desert. They fought fiercely and disturbed his life. They even set their greedy eyes on his red spider lily. At first, the stray beasts attacked him one by one, then it turned into groups of stray beasts attacking him. Those seemingly endless stray beasts swarmed towards him, then, he became a demon in the massacre. Stepping on the mountain of white bones, he felt hunger for the first time. So, he sat on the mountain of corpses and started eating the stray beasts at his feet. In the end, not even a bone was left. So, he was worshipped by the stray beasts as their lord. His name became a taboo in this world. She wanted him to guard the path to hell. If he did not become a demon, how could he guard it? Luckily, he did not let her down and helped her wait for the person who came to retrieve the flower. Bian straightened his body and pinched Gu Mingming's chin with his long and slender hands like those of a pianist. As if he was examining a piece of art, he said, "So, of course, I will give you the heart of the desert so that you can bring back the person she is waiting for. Only in this way can I be considered to have accomplished what she entrusted me to do and see her. So, I am more anxious than you, do you understand?" Gu Mengmeng nodded, not fully understanding. Bian then chuckled and let go of her chin. "The wound is not on your own body, how would you understand? But it's alright, you don't have to understand. I will slowly tell her about this loneliness when I see her." By right, Gu Mengmeng should have felt scared after hearing that he ate a pile of corpses. But she did not know if it was because she had seen too many things that would ruin her worldview after coming to the beast world, so this matter was not something she could not accept. In Gu Mingming's eyes, Bian was just a poor man who had fallen in love. "Uncle Bian, I have a question for you." "Go ahead." "You said you are the lord of the stray beasts." "Then Cole." "That fox." Bian thought for a while and chuckled in disdain. "Playing house outside and declaring himself king. He is just a clown who uses his little tricks to cheat." "Then, you're not going to do anything about it?" Bian chuckled. "The stray beasts outside are just a bunch of trash. I don't even open a garbage collection center, why should I care? Gu Meng Meng choked on her words. Ha, that's right. Compared to these monsters in Fedaden City, the stray beasts outside were just a mob, not even worth mentioning. As they spoke, Li's roasted scorpions were already cooked. He peeled off the 2 fattest ones and handed them to Gu Meng Meng. Eat something first. Tomorrow, I'll let Wabi and Elvis help you search for other scorpions. Gu Meng Meng shook her head and said, let's just eat scorpions, it's quite good. Moreover, the quantity is huge. I reckon that it would take 3 to 5 years to finish all of them. Leah chuckled and patted Gu Meng Meng's head. Then bear with it for a few days. When we return to our place, I will make something delicious for you. Gu Meng Meng nodded in agreement and did not say anything else. He only thought silently in his heart. Help that person back. Who was that person? How to cross the Dharma? Wang Xiaoxin was already gone. So what if he really helped that person back? He would still be like the flower of the other shore. The flower would never see the leaves, and the leaf would never see the flower. Chapter 12:10. Gu Meng Meng did not reject him, but recalled the entire song of sorrow of separation in her mind, trying her best to sing it to him. With every word, Gu Meng Meng could feel the blood in Bai An's heart surging. He was different from Snake. Snake was muddle-headed for the past 1,000 years, while his 1,000 years was a catastrophe known as waiting. Time was like a knife, mercilessly cutting into his heart. Now, he was finally released from his sentence. How could he not be excited? That night, Gu Meng Meng sang Sorrow of Separation over and over again, not stopping even when her voice was hoarse. Gu Meng Meng was fortunate enough to appear on stage at this banquet with a time difference of 1,000 years. Then, she would echo the previous messenger of the beast deity, with a brilliant beginning and a perfect ending. Gu Meng Meng and the rest ate scorpions in Fedaden City for 5 days. Finally, Bayan brought Gu Meng Meng and the rest to the city gates of Fedaden City. Bayan stood opposite Gu Meng Meng, smiling at her. Little girl, I have to thank you. Gu Meng Meng looked at Bayan in confusion. Bayan pulled Gu Meng Meng's hand over and placed it on his left chest. The heart of the desert you want is right here. Take it. Gu Meng Meng retracted her hand in fright, but Bayan held it down to prevent her from dodging. Scorpions don't have hearts. The red object throbbing in this body is the Manjusaka that she passed to me to pass to you on her behalf. It is also the heart of the desert that you mentioned. But, you don't dare to kill me. Bayan chuckled, as if he was watching a joke. Don't you want to deal with the trash outside? As long as you kill me, stray beasts within 100-mile radius of you will be terror-stricken. No one will dare to disobey you. Gu Meng Meng wanted to retract her hand, but she could not muster up any strength. Bayan was like a snake tempting Eve to eat an apple, constantly persuading Gu Meng Meng to dig out his heart. Aren't you curious? Why does this little snake have no impression of her at all? Gu Meng Meng nodded, expressing that she found it strange, but she just could not find a suitable opportunity to ask. Higgin chuckled and replied, she never belonged to this world, so when she left, all she left behind was a legend. All the memories of seeing her would be erased. As for me, it's the same. I was originally just an ordinary wild scorpion in this desert. It was she who gave me a heart and taught me to taste the loneliness of the human world. After you dig out this heart, I will disappear from this world just like her. All the memories related to me will also be extracted. So you don't have to feel burdened. After you dig out my heart, you will only remember that you obtained the heart of the desert, but you won't remember that your hands were once stained with my blood. Gu Meng Meng's memories were filled with scenes of massacres, but she really could not bear to kill someone herself. Even when she was facing Cole, she could only dig at the right side of his chest despite her extreme hatred. She did not have the courage to dig out his heart with her bare hands. Chapter 12:11. Gu Meng Meng did not want to be wishy-washy, but she really could not bear to do it. For a person who didn't have a deep grudge against him, even though they didn't have much feelings for each other, at least he protected you in this demon-filled place and provided you with food and shelter. How heartless would you be to turn around and dig out his heart? I'm sorry, little girl. Bayan frowned as he grabbed Gu Mingming's hand and pressed it into his chest forcefully, pushing Gu Mingming's hand into his chest. Ouch! Bayan groaned in pain as his forehead was instantly covered in sweat. His eyes were bloodshot but his lips were full of smiles. Little girl, did you touch it? Hold it tight, I'm going to pull your hand out. Uncle Bayan. Uncle Bayan. I don't want the heart of the desert anymore, don't be like this. Gu Mingming's tears rolled down her face as she shook her head like a rattle drum. Bayan chuckled as a mouthful of blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. His gaze was burning as he said, It's too late, hold it tight, don't let me die with everlasting regret. With that, Bayan used the last bit of his strength to pull Gu Mingming's hand out from his chest. Fresh blood splattered everywhere, dyeing Gu Mingming's eyes red. Uncle Bayan. The Fed-Atan city behind them collapsed along with Bayan's body. Dust filled the air as Bayan faced the sky. There was a huge hole in his chest that was bleeding profusely, but his lips were still in a beautiful arc, so beautiful that one could not take their eyes off him. There was only the sound of the wind blowing the sand, but Gu Meng Meng seemed to have heard the saddest love story in the world. Bayan's eyes were still looking at the sky, as if he was saying, It's time to return, I've reached Bayan. I can finally return to your side and accompany you to find green bricks and huge stones to build another city. We can wait for that person to return together. But this time, don't leave me alone. Now, I know how torturous it is to be alone. Gu Mingming's tears flowed freely as she felt a sense of sadness. She threw herself into Elvis's arms and cried until she had no energy left and finally fell asleep while sobbing. He slept for a long time. In her dream, she seemed to see a woman sitting next to a scorpion, poking its tail with her finger and asking it, Hey, are you lonely? The blood on the woman's fingertip dripped into the desert and blossomed into a red spider lily. When he opened his eyes again, there was only an endless desert. Gu Meng Meng frowned. She felt uncomfortable in her chest, as if something was pressing down on it, but she just could not recall what it was. Looking at the scarlet flower in her hand, Gu Meng Meng asked Elvis in confusion, This is the heart of the desert. How did I get it? Why can't I remember? Do you remember? Elvis also shook his head and said, I fainted not long after entering the desert. When I woke up, this thing was already in your hands. Gu Meng Meng leaned against Elvis's chest and looked into the distance. She said, Hubby, I saw a movie called Dragon Gate Inn when I was in the modern world. The setting in that movie is very similar to this place. When we have time in the future, let's look for some bricks and boulders in this desert and build a black shop to sell human meat barbecued pork buns, alright? Chapter 12:12. Gu Meng Meng nodded and did not say a word. Her little head was covered by the hide and Gu Meng Meng looked at the flowers in her hands blankly. She muttered softly, Why, do I feel like I have forgotten something? Something, that seems to be very important. If you have forgotten, it proves that it is not important to you. Elvis's large hand pressed lightly on Gu Mingming's back, helping her to stabilize the beast's skin. He kissed her little head through the beast's skin and said, Those things that you have forgotten, will be remembered by someone else. Because to that person, those memories are worth cherishing. Gu Mingming's expression changed. Gu Meng Meng nodded, still feeling uneasy. Then, she said, Hubby, I have not sung for you for a long time, right? Yeah, the last time I heard you sing was during the night campfire party. Qi Xian was still unconscious then and Jialiu asked you to sing a song to see if you could wake Qi Xian up. Gu Meng Meng wrapped her little hands around Elvis's neck and smiled faintly. Recalling that time, she felt as if it was a lifetime ago. Shall I sing a song for you? I feel that it is very compatible with this place. All right, I'm listening. Spring has passed, my hair has turned white, I pondered in loneliness, I cut off a strand of sorrow to cover my eyes, I am heartbroken today, we are in different places today, there is no hope of meeting you in this lifetime. The sorrowful tune continued intermittently with the wind in the desert, stirring up some quicksand. Fluttering and silly, it erased many unremembered memories of the past. Later on, there was a legend, there was a desert at the border of the beast world, called Mecca. There was no end to the quicksand there. When the wind swept the sand into the sky, one could hear someone humming a strange tune. The words could not be heard clearly, but it made one unable to help but feel sad. But, who would sing in the desert? That was just the sound of the sand being blown by the wind. There was a city in the desert called Fed-Adden, meaning return date. That city originally had the most ruthless, and unruly stray orcs in the beast world. They were existences that could easily rule the beast world if they walked out of the desert. However, they were trapped in the desert for their entire lives and could not even take half a step out. It was said that the person who imprisoned them was the master of the stray beasts. His name was a taboo and no one dared to mention it. He was above all rules and could kill on a whim. He was a demon that wandered at the edge of hell. His pure evil had also suppressed the demons that could cause turmoil in the beast world. However, the city of Fed-Adden had collapsed overnight, and all the evil spirits in the city were buried within, with not a single survivor. Some people said that those ferocious demons were his playthings, to pass the time while he waited. Later, when the time came to return, the person he was waiting for finally arrived. Therefore, there was no need for that city, that person, and everything else to exist. Hence, he used 5 days to summon back all the demons that were not in the city and buried them all. He ended everything cleanly and did not leave any filth in the beast world. Because the person he liked, the person he was waiting for, had said that he wanted to protect the beast world. After leaving the desert, Gu Meng Meng was in a bad mood for a few days. She did not know why she was feeling so sad, but she just felt that her chest was stuffy and uncomfortable. Chapter 12-13. What are you doing? You scared me to death. Gu Meng Meng howled. Wabi didn't mind. Swinging his tail, he clicked his tongue and said, "Didn't you spend so much effort to go to that godforsaken place to find a broken flower to help your little wolf break through the 5th level boundary and awaken the Beast King bloodline? You have been holding that flower in your hands for so many days. Are you planning to give it to him after it wilts?" Gu Meng Meng then recalled that she was looking for the heart of the desert for Elvis to level up after Wabi mentioned it. But for some reason, she felt a sense of melancholy when she looked at the flower. I can't remember where this flower came from. Is it really okay to use it directly? Could it be Cole's trap? As Gu Meng Meng said, she frowned. In the past, every time I looked for the 7 treasures, Cole would join in and do some disgusting things. But this time, he didn't appear. TSK, I feel like I am suffering from paranoia. If he doesn't come out to cause trouble, I will feel uneasy. Leah cupped his cheek. I also find it strange. He asked Joshua to lead you to the heart of the desert, but he didn't appear. It's not like him. Elvis tugged at Gu Meng Meng's little hand. Whether it's a trap or not, we will know once we step on it. Gu Meng Meng looked at Elvis with widened eyes. You want to? No, we haven't figured it out yet. What if something happens to you? Will you allow anything to happen to me? Elvis asked with a smile. I won't allow it. Gu Meng Meng answered without hesitation. Elvis nodded and said, I always listen to Xiao Meng's words. I will never do anything you don't allow, right? But... Gu Meng Meng looked at the flower in her hands hesitantly. Elvis kissed Gu Mingming's forehead. As long as you don't allow me to die, even if I fall into hell, I will shatter the bridge of helplessness and swim across the river of forgetfulness to return to your side. Moreover, you have to trust my wild beast instincts. This flower is not dangerous. Gu Mengmeng looked at Leah, but he smiled seductively. Yes, use it. If he really dies, I can become the rightful first partner. Gu Mengmeng was relieved to see Li's nonchalant look. Nodding his head, he said, Then, are you ready? Elvis nodded and said, I've always told you that you're the only one in my heart, but you just don't believe me. This is a good time, you can touch it and see if there are any impurities other than you in my heart. Although it was not a murder, but to have Gu Mengmeng personally cut open Elvis's chest and place the red spider lily in his heart still made her tremble. What if she lost control and killed Elvis? Why don't you let Leia do it? He was a witch doctor, so he knew when to stop. I've never cut open anyone's stomach. What if my hand trembles and I become a widow? Elvis smiled as he pulled Gu Mengmeng over and kissed her. Silly girl, do you think that other than you, I will allow anyone to cut open my chest? If it resisted instinctively, it might not be able to fuse with it, right? That would be the death of me. Thinking about it, Elvis was right. Other than Gu Mengmeng, why would he trust anyone else to put their hand into his chest and touch his heart? Gu Mengmeng took 2 deep breaths. Alright, I'll do it. Chapter 12-14. Get lost. Gu Mengmeng knew that Leah was using this method to make her relax. After all, the more nervous she was, the easier it was for her to make mistakes. But, how should she put it, if she wanted to kill someone, Gu Mengmeng would not be so lenient. Previously, when she was cutting open Cole's chest, she did not hesitate to dig a hole in his right chest. Admittedly, it was because she was angry at that time, but with Snake's memories, cruelty and bloodthirst were part of her nature. But when facing someone she cared about, she really could not bear to do it. Alright, I will go prepare some herbs to stop the bleeding and suture the wound. Leah pulled Gu Mingming's little hand to his lips and kissed it. Then, he gently bit her finger. Wabi-Ai and Oritin will help you guard the cave. No matter what happens while you are performing the fusion for Elvis, just trust them. Gu Mengmeng bit her lip. Do you think Cole will choose to cause trouble when I am performing the fusion for Elvis? Who knows? Leah was also worried about this. After all, it would be too weird if he did not come out to cause trouble. Wabi-Ai frowned and said to Gu Mengmeng, there is something I might have to tell you. Little shit, are you constipated? Gu Mengmeng looked at Wabi-Ai, who looked like he had eaten shit. TSK, Wabi-Ai rolled his eyes at Gu Mengmeng. I am being serious. Go ahead. Gu Mengmeng looked like she was all ears. Wabi-Ai took a deep breath. Ever since you returned from the desert, you have been a little different. Me? Suntanned. I can't help it, the desert sun is so bright. The ultraviolet rays are no joke. Wabi-Ai's "Are you an idiot?" expression made Gu Mengmeng shut her mouth. His gaze made Gu Mengmeng shut her mouth. She chuckled and said, I won't interrupt anymore. Go on, Wabi-Ai composed himself again. I am starting to be a little afraid of you. Why are you afraid of me? I don't bite. Gu Mengmeng clicked her tongue in disdain. She wanted to joke but stopped when she saw Wabi-Ai's serious gaze. Let me take a look. Did the mark on the back of my neck change again? Gu Mengmeng could not think of any other reason and could only lift her long hair to show the back of her neck to Wabi-Ai. They had no choice, other than Wabi-Ai who was a snake. Elvis and Leah could not tell the difference between the changes in the mark. Wabi scrutinized the mark on the back of Gu Mingming's neck and shook his head. No, it's the same as after I obtained the soul of the forest. It's the snake clan's protection mark. Then. Gu Mengmeng could not understand. Wabi continued, ever since we came out of the desert, I've had the urge to run away from you. You make me feel very dangerous. I can't help but hold my breath when I'm around you. When you occasionally turn your head to look at me, my snake scales will unconsciously explode, and I can feel my bones trembling. This feeling is very strange. It feels familiar yet foreign, even the infuriated snake had never made me this afraid. Gu Mengmeng frowned. She felt that the situation was a little serious. She pretended to smile normally. I won't do anything to you. Why are you so afraid of me? Chapter 12:15. Wabi opened his palms in front of Gu Mengmeng, his palms full of sweat. Look, this is my reaction after I attacked you with my tail. Wabi said, I am a snake, a cold-blooded animal. I will not sweat no matter how hot the weather is. But that glare from you made my palms wet until now. Even though you are speaking to me in a friendly manner, I still cannot control myself from curling up into a ball and staying away from you. So serious. Gu Mengmeng frowned. In Snake's memories, there were many times when he had tortured Wabi until he was on his last breath. Gu Mengmeng had also beaten Wabi up many times, but Wabi had never backed down. Every time he recovered from his injuries, he would return to being a good man and continue to provoke her. But this time, just because Gu Mengmeng glared at him, he had backed down until now. Still thinking of escaping. As for that, Wabi nodded and said, but apart from me, Elvis, Leah and even the third-level Oratin did not feel this way. Then does that mean, you have something on you that is very dangerous to stray beasts? Gu Mengmeng fell into deep thought and a sentence seemed to echo in her mind. Gu Mengmeng instinctively murmured, as long as you kill me, all stray beasts within 100-mile radius of you will be terror-stricken. No one will dare to disobey you. What? Elvis held onto Gu Mengmeng's shoulders and asked. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and looked up at Elvis with a confused expression. I don't know, it's just that, someone seemed to have told me this before. Gu Mengmeng frowned and looked at Elvis. Did I kill someone? Why don't I remember anything? Elvis held Gu Mengmeng's little hand and kissed it. Silly girl, don't think too much. With Leah and me around, we should be the ones to kill someone. Why would we let you do such menial work? Then, I am telling you all this because I want to tell you that if I am so afraid of you, that crippled fox must be even more afraid of you. Wabi interrupted Gu Mengmeng's guess. I'm afraid it's not that he doesn't want to appear, but that he doesn't dare to go near you. Gu Mengmeng nodded. That's for the best. But little shit. I promise I won't bully you anymore. Don't be afraid of me, okay? Wabi gritted his teeth and said, I'm giving you face by being afraid of you. Don't fail to appreciate my kindness. Humph. With that, Wabi swam out of the cave he found at the last minute. He leaned against the entrance of the cave and panted heavily to calm himself down. After a long while, he roared into the cave. I will guard the entrance for you. Hurry up and dig. Gu Mengmeng knew that Wabi was putting up a front. He was really afraid of her, but even if he was afraid, he still gritted his teeth and stood by her side. What a good little shit. Leah kissed Gu Mengmeng's forehead and said, I'll go prepare too. With that, Leah pulled Oratin out. Guard the cave well with Wabi. I will cook meat for you when we return. All right. Oratin's reply was resolute and decisive, just like a warrior who swore to defend his territory with his life. The three of them exited the cave. Gu Mengmeng took a deep breath and laid Elvis flat on the ground. She straddled Elvis's abdomen and used her knee to press against Elvis's arm to prevent him from moving around due to the pain. It would be troublesome if he really hurt his heart. Hubby. Chapter 12:16. Gu Meng Meng held on to the red spider lily in her hands. Elvis held on to her trembling little hand and slowly pressed it into his chest. Blood started to flow out uncontrollably. Gu Mingming's eyes reddened, but she did not dare to cry. If her tears blurred her vision and caused her to break down, Elvis would be in danger. Thump thump, thump thump, due to the pain, it was beating with a tight rhythm. The warm touch touched Gu Mingming's fingertips. Gu Mengmeng opened her eyes and clenched her teeth. She slowly placed the red spider lily into Elvis's chest. The first touch from her fingertips made Gu Mingming's heart tighten. Every bit of warmth from his skin was burning her heart. That flower was like quicksand on her fingertips, slowly merging with Elvis's heart. Xiao Meng, don't cry. I can't lift my hands now, let me hug you. Elvis forced a smile and did not let himself lose consciousness. He knew Gu Mengmeng was scared, but he had no strength left in his body. The pain had drained every bit of energy in his body. He wanted to comfort her but could only say these intermittent words. The red spider lily had completely merged with Elvis's heart. Gu Mengmeng carefully retracted her hand from Elvis's chest. Every movement was accompanied by a large amount of blood, making Gu Mengmeng feel very fearful and uneasy. Elvis's comfort made her even more unable to stop her tears. She pleaded with a thick sobbing tone, "Hubby, you promised me that nothing would happen to me. You must never lie to me. I can't do it without you, you have to protect me, you promised to support me even if the sky falls. If you abandon me, what if I get smashed flat?" Seeing her crying like a child, wiping away her tears while using a clean beast skin to press on the wound on Elvis's chest, Elvis tried his best to curl the corners of his lips. His consciousness was too hazy and he could not say a word. He could only smile and tell this silly girl, "It's all right, don't be afraid, I'm still here." Leah separated the herbs that he had long prepared outside the cave and mixed them with the appropriate proportions. Then, he carried the boiled water back into the cave and carried Gu Mengmeng down from Elvis's body. Holding onto her shoulders, he looked into her eyes and said, "Mengmeng, tell me you're fine, or else I can only let Elvis bleed to comfort you first." Gu Mengmeng shook her head and wiped away her tears, saying, "I'm fine, I'm very good, I'm really." Sob sob. Stop fooling around, hurry and go take a look at Elvis, will he die with a huge hole in his heart? Seeing that Gu Mengmeng could still throw a tantrum, Leah felt more at ease. "Okay, I'll go see him. Take care of yourself and don't distract me, okay?" "Yeah." Gu Mengmeng nodded her head vigorously. Leah washed his hands and then used a fishbone needle to stitch up Elvis's chest. This was a technique he learned from Gu Mengmeng. The males in the tribe often had their skin and flesh torn apart. He had practiced it many times and was now able to handle it with ease. Using a clean beast skin to wipe the wound that had coagulated blood stains, Leah placed his hand on Elvis's forehead and nodded, saying, "There's no fever and no convulsions. The important organs are not hurt at all. Simply put, it's just a superficial wound. This degree of injury, he'll probably wake up in the afternoon. So, Xiao Meng, don't worry." Gu Mengmeng heaved a sigh of relief after hearing Li's relaxed tone. Chapter 12:17. Leah predicted that Elvis would wake up in the afternoon, but in fact, Elvis had already woken up when Leah was preparing lunch for Gu Mengmeng. The first thing he said when he opened his eyes was, "Bring Xiao Meng away, hurry." Elvis and Li's tacit understanding was already a conditioned reflex. Just hearing those 5 words, Leah knew the severity of the situation. Without a care for anything else, Leah carried Gu Mengmeng and ran. Wabi-Eye and Oriton did not know what was going on, but also ran with all their might. After running for a short distance, they felt the earth shaking and the howls of wolves reverberating behind them. The cave was blocked by the rocks rolling down from the mountain. Gu Meng Meng cried out in fear, "Elvis! Elvis, put me down, I want to go back and save Elvis." Leah did not stop running, but replied as he ran, "A few broken rocks can't hurt him. He is announcing to the wolf tribe that a wolf king has been born. Later on, this place will become the gathering place of the wolves, you will only be a hindrance here. But, his mark is on your collarbone, if something really happens to him, you will be the first to know. Don't be afraid, let's go first, he will definitely come looking for you after he is done. After all, that fellow can't bear to miss a single glance at you." They ran like this, only stopping when the three males were completely exhausted. But even from such a distance, Gu Meng Meng could feel the waves of Beast King aura coming from Elvis. Her hubby had really become a Beast King. Gu Meng Meng touched the mark on her collarbone and slowly heaved a sigh of relief. She did not even feel the slightest bit of pain, it seemed like Elvis was really handling it with ease. Lunch had already been prepared, but was interrupted by Elvis's sudden awakening. Thinking about the pot of fragrant meat that he had not eaten, Oriton was filled with resentment. He said expressionlessly that he was going out to hunt, then carried 2 wild wolves back. Sigh, a glutton's resentment and revenge. Leah did not say much, but just started preparing the prey and cooking it. Gu Mingming's thoughts were all on her collarbone, so she did not bother about what Oriton had hunted. She just shot a glance at Wabi-Eye, who was sitting far away, and asked mildly, "Little shit, are you still very afraid of me?" Wabi-Eye hesitated for a moment but still nodded. "It's all right, I will slowly get used to it." Gu Meng Meng tilted her head and said, "But I still don't know why you are afraid of me. I didn't do anything." Wabi-Eye was also puzzled and said, "I can't put my finger on it. I just feel that it's very scary and we can't provoke it." Gu Meng Meng squatted at the side and used a tree branch to draw circles on the ground. She looked at Wabi-Eye with an aggrieved expression and asked, "Then do you intend to return to the Snake King Valley earlier?" Wabi-Eye's lips curled into a smile. "No, you are the new Wolf King. Why don't you fight before you leave?" Pfft. Gu Meng Meng chuckled. Little shit is still little shit after all. Yeah, that's good. TSK, Wabi-Eye rolled his eyes at Gu Meng Meng in disdain, before turning his head to the side. Anyone familiar with him would know, yeah, he was shy. It was already the night of the second day when Elvis came looking for her. Over the past 40 hours, Gu Meng Meng had no idea what had happened to him in that cave. But when he arrived under the moonlight, his ink-black long hair hung behind him like drifting clouds. His burly and imposing figure seemed even more upright under the moonlight. The frost-colored moonlight cast a layer of haze over him, adding 30% mystery and 70% evil. Coupled with the 90% gentleness in his blue eyes, it resulted in 100% doting and love for Gu Meng Meng. Chapter 12:18. Gu Meng Meng jumped into Elvis's arms and placed her little hands on his chest. The skin there had already healed to the point where not a single scar could be seen. Only a red spider lily blossomed on his chest, making it look extremely alluring and eye-catching. Gu Meng Meng stood up and pounced into Elvis's arms. This. Gu Meng Meng caressed the tattoo-like totem in confusion and asked obediently, "Does it still hurt?" "It hurts." Elvis kissed Gu Meng Meng's little face and said, You dropped a tear on my heart. Do you know how painful it was for me to be burned by that tear?" Loquacious. Gu Meng Meng rebuked, "You know I'm not talking about this." Elvis hugged Gu Meng Meng tightly and said, "Silly girl, didn't I tell you that as long as you don't allow me to die, even if I'm in hell, I will crawl back? But you didn't believe me and didn't listen to me." You cried so much that it made me worried. It's not that I don't believe you, I just feel heartache. Gu Mang Mang said coquettishly. Elvis nodded and said, I know your heart aches for me. So, on one hand, I'm heartbroken because of your tears, but on the other hand, I feel so happy that I'm going crazy. I'm afraid what you're best at is punishing me. Gu Mang Mang chuckled. What are you saying, mighty Wolf King? You and I are both Beast Kings, but your powers are obviously higher than mine. How would I dare to punish you? This was not a lie. Although Gu Mang Mang had inherited Snake's powers and battle memories, it was destined that her body would not be able to unleash Snake's powers to their fullest potential. Although only 30% was enough to crush the beast world, but compared to the current Elvis, she was indeed a notch weaker. Elvis bit Gu Mang Mang's lips lightly and said, No matter how strong I am, I can't even withstand a single blow from your 7 syllables. Gu Mang Mang smiled softly and did not say anything else. She just leaned her head against Elvis's chest and let her worry for the past 40 hours gradually calm down. Leah swayed his tail and stretched his waist. Sigh, our family is finally like a normal family. It's really, I suddenly feel relieved. Gu Mang Mang tilted her head and looked at Leah. What normal family? Hasn't our family always been normal? Leah shook his head pretentiously and said, Have you ever seen a female family with the strongest battle power? If anything happens, Elvis and I don't even have the confidence to say we will protect her. Now it's finally all right, I can be at ease and fight for my life in the future if anything happens. Even if I die, Elvis has enough power to protect you. Leah. Gu Mang Mang frowned and said, What did you promise me when we made it? Leah took 2 steps forward and placed both his arms on Gu Mang Mang's knees. He bent over and laid on her thighs, looking up at Gu Mang Mang. Elvis is so strong now, do you still care about me? Do you still care if I'm alive or not? Do you still need me to accompany you? Gu Mang Mang reached out and twisted Lee's ear. She pulled it upwards and said with a cold face, Say it again. Ouch, 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 ouch. My dear Mang Mang, I was wrong. I won't talk nonsense anymore, I'll level up as soon as possible, after we get the love of the sky, we'll go find the spirit of the rocky cliffs, then I'll break through to level 5 and become a Beast King, I'll protect you forever, okay? Twist gently. Gu Mang Mang loosened her grip and rubbed his furry beast ears. That's more like it. Chapter 12:19. Elvis chuckled. Yes, you are right to be weak. Leo was not angered. He snuggled deeper into Gu Mang Mang's arms and the 3 of them played together. The next morning, Gu Mang Mang woke up in Elvis's arms. When she opened her eyes, she saw Elvis looking at her lovingly. Leo was cooking nearby and Oriton was circling around the pod as usual. Wabi was even further away from her. It seemed like he was still afraid of her. There were many more wolf beasts around them. They did not come close and just surrounded the perimeter as if they were guarding them. Gu Mang Mang pointed at the wild wolves. Elvis tidied Gu Mang Mang's hair. Do you remember the colorful snakes by Snake's side? Gu Mang Mang nodded. Those little snakes followed her for a period of time. It was just that she was not used to having snakes around her all the time. Moreover, she ran around the world and the weather was a fatal problem for the little snakes. Hence, she ordered them to return to the Snake King Valley. That was the end of it. Elvis continued. After I became the Beast King, I became extremely attractive to the wolves. They yearn for their king and gathering around me is an instinct. Although they are just wild beasts, they have their own way of thinking and communication. The amazing thing is, I can feel what they are thinking now. Gu Mang Mang could understand this feeling. Hence, ever since she became the Snake King, she was determined not to eat snake meat. Although she did not eat it in the past, the feeling now was even more different. Elvis smiled. That's good too. Although you don't like to eat wolf meat and feel that it is too hard, at least you will not starve if there is a situation where it is inconvenient to hunt. Gu Mingming's mouth twitched. You still dare to eat wolves? Elvis lowered his head and chuckled. He narrowed his eyes. Have you forgotten? When I was in the stray beast camp, I even ate orcs. Even if I can feel their thoughts and understand their language now, they are still wild beasts. Using Snake's words, they are my people, so I can kill them and eat them whenever I want. It is their honor to fill the stomach of my female. If you don't believe me, you can ask them if they are willing to become food in my stomach. Elvis howled and the surrounding wolves all prostrated on the ground, showing a look of submission and obedience. Gu Mengmeng face-bombed. Was the huge difference in thinking due to gender or race? It was a mysterious proposition, and she could never understand it. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and said, forget it, from today onwards, we won't eat wolf meat anymore. I feel disgusted. I'll listen to you. Elvis didn't mind. Anyway, there were so many beasts that could eat, so eating anything was the same. After breakfast, everyone prepared to continue their journey. Leah handed the cutlery to Oritin to clean up, while he wagged his tail and walked to Gu Mingming's side, asking, are we going directly to Moda Mountains or returning to the tribe first? Gu Mengmeng rested her chin on her hand, also very hesitant. Should we go directly to Moda Mountains? But she didn't have a way to go up the mountain. Go back to the tribe. Could it be that if they returned to the tribe, a spiritual eagle would fall from the sky? Chapter 12:20. Gu Mengmeng thought about it and said, that's good too. Heda and Jiaoyu are in charge of Sauter now. Although there is Colin holding the fort, I am still worried. Let's go back and take a look. When the time comes, we can arrange for the people from the wolf tribe to stay there. That is equivalent to giving Heda and his brothers military power. I will be more at ease with our own forces protecting them. Yeah. Elvis knew that no matter what happened, her priority would always be her 4 sons. It was as if those 4 little wolves who could already take charge were still 4 little buns in her eyes. After deciding on the direction, they did not delay their journey any further. Elvis carried Gu Mengmeng while Leah followed behind. Oritin carried the cooking utensils and walked at the back while Wabi-I unconsciously followed further behind. Packs of wolves surrounded this group of people and it was a spectacular sight. It was just that they had to travel a long distance and Elvis had safely advanced to become a beast king. The melodramatic situation that Gu Mengmeng had been worried about did not happen. This made Gu Mengmeng feel much better. The monsoon season was nearing its end. Gu Mengmeng was worried that Wabi-I's body would not be able to withstand the dry environment after just returning from the desert, so she suggested that he return to the Snake King Valley first. Wabi-I did not insist and just told Elvis, protect her well. I will try my best to adapt and then come back. The adaptation he was referring to was not a problem with the climate, but something that made the stray beasts feel uneasy from Gu Mingming's body. Wabi-I was one of the few males that Elvis and Leah could tolerate hanging around Gu Mengmeng. No matter how Gu Mengmeng and Wabi-I played, joked or even hugged, the two of them did not feel anything. Sometimes, Gu Mengmeng would feel a little jealous when she hugged Sandy, Elvis and Leah. But she could not bring herself to feel jealous towards Wabi-I. This was very strange, but there was no need to think too much about it. Anyway, she could not think of anything even if she wanted to. After Wabi-I left, Gu Mengmeng, Elvis, Leah and Oritin continued on their way to Sauter. Meanwhile, in the meeting room of Zacharias, a wolf and a fox were facing each other. Ha, the young master of the stray beasts, you sure know how to use this identity well. Cole walked down the steps and gently pinched Chishuan's chin. With a sinister gaze, he said, "You are indeed an ungrateful wretch. You turned around and bit me. Your female is pregnant with your female child. Shouldn't she be raised by your side? I am putting myself in your shoes and thinking for you." Qi Xian did not avoid or get angry. He just stared straight at Cole and replied calmly. Cole chuckled. His smile was eerie and sinister as he said, "It's rare for my little Xian to be so filial. Since that's the case, I'll let you raise that female child after she is born. After she grows up, I'll give her to you as a tool for you to break through the third-level boundary in the future. How about that?" Qi Xian brushed away Cole's hand that was pinching his chin and frowned in disgust. "If the four of us want to mate with any female, we have to get my mother's approval first. Do you think my mother would allow your daughter to touch me?" Chapter 12:21. Qi Xian leaned against the table in the meeting room and crossed his arms in front of his chest. "My mother is beautiful at any time, but I've seen her cry once and it's a terrible sight. So I don't intend to see it a second time." Qi Xian chuckled, looking as though he could not do anything about his own mother. It was hard to tell if he was talking about his mother or his daughter. He rubbed his head and said, "You should keep your daughter for yourself. I don't like her being dirty. Let's wait and see." Cole laughed coldly. He had been too confident in Qi Xian in the past and thought that he had him firmly in his hands. He did not expect Ah Gu to cry so much that he was stunned. Back then, he had been as heartless to Ah Gu as he had been to Ah Gu. Now, he had turned around and treated her just as heartless. TSK, in terms of heartless nature, he was more like his son. Once Ah Gu set off to search for the heart of the desert, Qi Xian used his status as the stray beast young master to order the stray beasts to snatch females from Saint Nazir. It was nothing new for stray beasts to snatch females. Moreover, they were snatching from Saint Nazir. Those stray beasts thought that Qi Xian had fallen in love with a certain female but was unwilling to share it with others, or that the other party had not agreed to it. That was why he had the intention to snatch her. Even though Cole had given the order not to touch the 3 tribes of Saint Nazir, Sauter and Zacharias as well as the 16 tribes that had just submitted to Sauter, but snatching the wife of the messenger's son from Saint Nazir should at most be considered a family matter, right? The stray beasts thought about how much Cole doted on Qi Xian and how much the messenger treasured Qi Xian. No one would blame them for snatching a female for him. So they treated it as a way of coaxing the young master and snatched the female from Saint Nazir without a second word. But who knew that when they reached Saint Nazir, there was only one female at home? The famous 16 valued females were nowhere to be seen. Left with no choice, they could only capture that half-orc. Once Qi Xian saw the female he captured, he wrapped her in a beast-skin bag and carried her away without a second word. At that time, Cole was preparing a cart full of prey to deliver to Fedaden City and coincidentally met Gu Mengmeng. Halfway through his journey, he was hindered by the news from the spies planted in the various tribes. Saint Nazir was attacked by stray beasts and all the females in the tribe were snatched. Sauter was attacked by stray beasts and Heda and Jialyu were nowhere to be found. Zacharias was attacked by stray beasts, Qi Xian was heavily injured and on the verge of death. When Cole received these 3 pieces of news, he was dumbfounded. Why would stray beasts do such a thing? Since it happened at the same time, it was clear that someone was controlling it. Who could set up such a trap and turn the tables on him? Leah. It must be Leah. Cole quickly calmed down and analyzed the situation. All 3 things could not be true. Leah would not do meaningless things, the female of Saint Nazir, the missing Heda and Jialyu, as well as the severely injured Qi Xian. Cole only took a second to confirm that Lee's target was Qi Xian. The reason was simple. Cole had been using Qi Xian to threaten Gu Mengmeng, forcing her to not dare to act rashly. The easiest way to resolve this situation was to kill Qi Xian. As long as Qi Xian was dead, he would no longer have any leverage to threaten Gu Mengmeng. And, Gu would definitely blame it on him for the stray beast's actions, right? He was not afraid that Gu Mengmeng would hate him, but he did not want to be the scapegoat. Chapter 12:22. Our little Xian has grown fangs and claws, but, did I ever teach you? In front of an enemy you can't defeat, it's best to remain docile. Cole strangled Qi Xuan's neck with a sinister smile. Qi Xian did not resist and just allowed him to strangle him. He even looked at Cole with an extremely provocative gaze. Cole released Qi Xian a second before he breathed his last. You are certain that I won't kill you, so you want to use this against me? Qi Xian sat on the ground, panting heavily. After a long while, he finally lifted his eyes. He was clearly the pathetic one, but he was smiling victoriously. I wasn't sure at first, but now I'm sure. You can't kill me. Qi Xian said, I know that the reason you are holding me in your hands is not to save your life. You want to use my blood to taint my mother's soul and turn her into someone like you. Every time you use me to force my mother, the outcome you are hoping for is not for her to back down, but for her to go crazy. You want her to give up on me and even kill me personally so that she won't be forced to do those things she doesn't want to do. If my mother doesn't do it, everything you do will be meaningless. Qi Xian stood up shakily with his hands on the table. He wiped the blood off the corner of his lips. What's the point of always bullying a female? Why don't you change your opponent and let me play with you? Ha! Cole chuckled. He narrowed his eyes and said, Little Xian, do you think that death is the most painful thing in this world? TSK, how did I raise such a naive child? Qi Xian also chuckled and replied, Indeed, you have many ways to torture people. But I am different from my mother. My mother cares about too many people. That's why she is full of loopholes for you to exploit. As for me, other than my mother, I don't care about anyone, including myself, and you don't have the ability to harm my mother. So in front of you, I have no weaknesses. This time, I have disrupted your plan to disgust my mother. Consider it a declaration of war. In the future, there will be frequent disruptions like this. I am just informing you in advance. After all, I am indebted to you for taking care of me for so long. Alright, let's wait and see. With that, Cole turned to leave. Wait! Qi Xian called out. He casually threw the beast skin bag at the side in a parabola to Cole. Take your trash away. Cole did not reject her. He weighed the beast skin bag with Maya in it and smiled helplessly. Little Xian, you can't beat me. Do you know why? Qi Xian did not reply. He only saw Cole raise his hand high up and throw the beast skin bag heavily onto the ground. A sorrowful wail accompanied by the thick stench of blood spread out. Cole smiled contemptuously as he wiped the blood stains on his fingers. He looked up at Qi Xian and said, Because you are not ruthless enough and you are not ruthless enough. You can obviously get rid of the obstacles directly, so why bring them back? With that, Cole patted Qi Xuan's shoulder lightly and said, But you are after all a little brat that I taught myself. Let me see how sharp your fangs and claws are. Don't make me feel too bored, okay? Ha ha ha. With that, Cole walked out without looking back. Chapter 12:23. Was he not ruthless enough? Compared to Cole, who could throw a pregnant female to death without batting an eyelid, he was indeed too soft-hearted. To fight against Cole, kindness was the most important thing. But that mother of his, she could not do anything insane. Let me do the dirty work, mother, you just don't cry so miserably again. Qi Xian sighed and returned to the meeting hall of the fake village. He crossed his arms on the table and supported his chin with the back of his hand. He stared at the direction of the cave with an expressionless face. He really did not look like a 2-year-old child like this. On the other side, when Gu Mengmeng finally reached Sauter, there were already 70 to 80 lone wolf beasts gathered around her. And the wolf beasts did not call Gu Mengmeng the Great Messenger, but Queen. Gu Mengmeng did not mind this, because the people of the Snake King Valley also did not call her the Great Messenger, but called her Saintess. But hearing Queen, Gu Mengmeng got addicted to acting, and would lie on Elvis seductively, blinking her eyes and asking, "Mighty King, is your concubine beautiful?" Elvis's face and ears would always turn red from her teasing. Looking at her delicate and alluring look, he could not wait to tear her apart and eat her up. But she just had to run away after teasing him, never taking responsibility. He gritted his teeth, but could not do anything to her. Her eyes were bright and beautiful, and the corners of his lips would automatically rise. In this lifetime, he had fallen into her hands. Other than spoiling her, there was nothing else he could do. After hiding for almost 2 months, Heda and Jiaoyu could finally see the light of day again. They stood at the door waiting for Gu Mengmeng, their smiles brighter than the sun. Seeing Gu Mengmeng from afar, they ran over happily, but before they reached her, they heard Elvis say, "Don't hug my female." Then, the 2 little ones stopped in front of Gu Mengmeng, unable to move even half a step. "Mother." Jiaoyu pouted, feeling extremely wronged. "Mother, why am I a wolf? I want to be a fox." Sobs. "I want to be a fox." Gu Mengmeng glared at Elvis and said, "I warned you before, don't bully my sons." Elvis sighed. No matter how old these 4 annoying fellows were, Gu Mengmeng would always stand on their side regardless of whether they were right or wrong. Elvis facepalmed and said, "I'm just afraid that they'll crash into you too fiercely. Hug me if you want, I won't stop you, alright? Don't be angry, be good." Gu Mengmeng walked forward and held her 2 sons' arms with 1 arm each. Actually, she wanted to hug his neck, but, "You guys seem to have grown taller again. I'm only up to your shoulders now. What a blow to my pride. You have to raise your head when scolding your son. You don't have the bearing of a mother at all." Jiaoyu playfully rested his head on Gu Mengmeng's shoulder and said, "No way, no matter when we talk to Mummy, we always lower our heads. Mummy is so imposing. Besides, we're so obedient. As long as you glare at us, we'll immediately restrain ourselves. Why would Mother need to get angry and scold us? You can't bear to do that, can you? Only you know how to talk." Gu Mengmeng pinched Jiaoyu's handsome face, feeling extremely satisfied. A son with a sweet mouth is really lovable. Gu Mengmeng smiled until her eyes squinted. She hugged her 2 sons on each side and entered Sauter. Chapter 12:24. You said Qi Xian sent a message for the 2 of you to hide. Gu Mengmeng sat in the meeting room and asked. Heda nodded. Yeah, he also told us to pretend to have been attacked by stray beasts. He said we can only come out when Mother is back. Gu Mengmeng completely did not understand what Qi Xian was up to. She turned to look at Jiaoyu. So you didn't ask anything and just hid obediently? Jiaoyu nodded. He is our biological brother. If he wants us to hide, we will. I don't think second brother would play a prank for no reason. Since he did not explain, it means now is not the time for us to know the details. So we just have to do as he says. The next time we meet, he will definitely give us an explanation. Of course, if he is really so bored to play a prank on us, ha 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 ha. He probably meant that he would punish him twice as much. Jiaoyu looked like an innocent angel, but he was probably the most black-bellied of the 4 little ones. Gu Mengmeng tilted her head at Leah. Do you know what Qi Xian is up to? Leah chuckled. He tapped Gu Mengmeng's little nose. If you want to know, why don't we go to Zacharias and ask directly? Ah. Let's not. Jiaoyu hugged Gu Mingming's arm with a bitter expression. Mother, how long has it been since I last saw you? You just arrived and you want to leave. There are no wells in Zacharias. It is going to be the dry season soon. You will suffer if you go there. Stay and solder until the dry season is over. Hedo was calm, but he also missed Gu Mengmeng. Hence, he agreed. Yes, mother-in-law often talks about mother. Since you are here, you should at least meet her, right? Joseph and his brothers are growing up very well. They are very cute and are godsons after all. If you don't show up soon, they might forget about you. Speaking of Joseph, Gu Mengmeng felt a chill. Damn it. Just the thought of Sandy asking her to carry that little cub away and raise him as a child husband made her hair stand on end. Harming an infant in his swaddling clothes, damn Sandy. I treat you as my best friend, but you treat me as a pervert. Sighing, Gu Mengmeng nodded and said, it just so happens that your beast father has just become a beast king and there should be many wolf beasts joining our tribe during this period. You two take advantage of this dry season to deal with this matter. If there's anything you need help with, look for your father. Elvis pulled Gu Mengmeng away from Hedda and Jiaoyu into his arms, playing with her hair as he said, I am indeed the leader of Saint Nazir, but this is Solder, Hedda is the leader, why should I help him handle his official duties? He is your son, Gu Mengmeng said matter-of-factly. Elvis chuckled. If a father has to do everything for his son, then ask them to look for Peter. Peter is my father. Gu Mengmeng was exasperated. She elbowed Elvis and said, you are the Beast King. With great power comes great responsibility. Do you understand? Capable people do more work. What's wrong with helping your son? Elvis laughed. It's not impossible to help them, but, how are you going to thank me? Thank me for what? Gu Mengmeng could clearly see the words you know, in Elvis's eyes. Her face burned. Damn it, she actually understood what he was hinting at. Chapter 12:25. There's no need, we can handle it ourselves. Jiaoyu took a step forward and said with his head held high, also, respected mighty beast king, I don't like people threatening my mother, even if it's just flirting. Yes, because of Cole and Qishuan's incident, the four young ones were now especially sensitive to others using them to control Gu Mengmeng. It was like a minefield marked with skulls, anyone who entered would be blown to death. Elvis was just flirting with Gu Mengmeng and did not think too much about it. But Jiaoyu's rise to the level of a threat still made Elvis a little unhappy. But the worst feeling in this world was when you clearly had the ability to skin him alive, but you could not even touch a single finger of him. That's for the best. Elvis laughed coldly and said, I also don't wish for my sons to be useless and rely on their parents' status to survive in the beast world. With that, he carried Gu Mengmeng and left. Jiaoyu and Hedda did not chase after them. They knew very well that they were already adult orcs. Under normal circumstances, orcs at their age would already be out on their own and would no longer have any connection with their mother's family. They were independent individuals and had to be responsible for their own lives and future. However, because Gu Mengmeng was different from other females, the motherly love and gentleness she gave to the four brothers was like a pair of large, warm hands protecting them, making them unwilling to abandon her and run away to a faraway place. So they chose to wait at a place where their mother would definitely return. When their mother returned, they could once again see her gentle smile, support them regardless of right or wrong, and protect them regardless of the cost. But they had to know when to stop. They could no longer act coquettishly around their mother like when they were young. So when Elvis carried Gu Meng Meng away, they knew they could not chase after them because they were no longer cubs living under their parents' protection. They were now strong sons who had to support their mother and not little munchkins who could only complain to their mother after being bullied by Elvis and Leah. After Elvis became the Wolf King, there was one thing that Gu Meng Meng could not get used to. That was to follow a pack of wolves wherever she went. How should she put it? She felt like she was walking her dog without a leash and felt extremely uneasy. After all, the husky's nickname was gone. Elvis pinched Gu Meng Meng's little face and pulled her face towards him. He said sternly, "I won't allow another wolf to appear in our family. They don't have the guts to be beast pets in the Wolf King's house, so you don't have to look. If you like my beast form, I can transform for you." Gu Meng Meng face-bombed, speechless. After Elvis became a beast king, his domineering attributes increased a little too quickly. In the past, he had never been able to speak, but now, he could just open his mouth. It was as if the demeanor of the first partner had been completely discarded. Although this was pretty good and Gu Meng Meng enjoyed Elvis's possessiveness towards her, but could he not treat her like a pervert? It was one thing to guard against beast men, but now they were even guarding against wild beasts. Gu Meng Meng placed her hands on Elvis's shoulders and smiled. "Hubby, you are the mighty Wolf King. With a partner like you, why would I fancy other wolves? Am I right?" Chapter 12:26. It was Gu Meng Meng's habit to visit Sandy the moment she arrived at Sauter. This was already a custom. Elvis had a pack of wolves with him and it was not convenient for him to go to Sandy's house. Hence, he could only hand Gu Meng Meng over to Leah while he took the opportunity to settle some issues that the Wolf King had to deal with. At the border of Sandy's territory, Elvis kissed Gu Meng Meng and said, "Don't chat with Sandy for too long and don't bring back her little leopard cubs, mmm." Gu Meng Meng smiled and nodded. Then, she hugged Elvis's neck and kissed him. "Go and settle the wolf pack. I will return to the stone castle after talking to Sandy for a while." Elvis tightened his grip on Gu Meng Meng and rubbed his chin against her neck. "If anything happens, just hammer my mark and I will rush over immediately." Gu Meng Meng smiled. "Have you forgotten? I am also a beast king. No matter how strong you are still my female. I can't help but worry." Elvis kissed Gu Meng Meng's brow again. "Be good." "All right, I got it." If Gu Meng Meng had not agreed, Elvis would have spent the whole day with her. She would not have to visit Sandy and he would not have to settle his work. He was still willing to part with her, but Elvis still handed her over to Leah. "Take care of her." "Yes, mighty Wolf King." Leah replied teasingly before carrying Gu Meng Meng back to Sandy's house. This was the advantage of being a witch doctor. He could ignore all territorial boundaries. Sandy could not sit still the moment she heard that Gu Meng Meng was back. She paced around the door several times. If not for Colin stopping her, saying that Gu Meng Meng was the messenger of the beast deity and that she must have things to settle in Sauter first, and that she would only be a burden if she went, Sandy would have rushed into the meeting room to snatch her away. Now that she saw Gu Meng Meng, she could no longer hold back her smile. It was as radiant and warm as the spring breeze in March. Gu Meng Meng jumped down from Lee's arms and hugged Sandy. Even though both of them were mothers, they were still full of youthful spirit. They held each other's hands and giggled foolishly. Even though they had so many things to say to each other, they could only condense into one sentence: "I missed you so much." On one side, Gu Meng Meng and Sandy were lovey-dovey together, while on the other side, Elvis was sitting on a huge rock on an empty plot of land outside Sauter. He looked lazy and devilish, his gaze as calm as the deep night sky, boundless and boundless. There were no fluctuations of emotions on his nonchalant face, only the slight frown on his face indicated that he was feeling impatient. There were close to 100 orcs standing on the empty ground, and all of them were single wolf beasts. They were all attracted by the Beast King. Elvis could even feel that there were some wolf beasts that had already mated and were trying to convince their partners to follow them to Sodor to seek shelter from Elvis. Lord Wolf King, please consider this seriously. We should have our own territory. With your current status, how can you live with other races? One of the wolf beasts said. Yes, the first problem Elvis had to face was the issue of the territory of the tribe. In the past, there was only one Beast King in the Beast world, and that was Snake. So when a new Beast King was born, Snake's actions became the basis and standard to be followed. Snake had a Snake King Valley, and all the snake beasts lived in the valley, receiving the protection of the Beast King. So now, they felt that the wolf tribe should also have their own territory. It could be called Wolf King Valley or Wolf King Mountain. Chapter 12:27. The wolf beast's thoughts were very simple. Why did the Snake King Snake have his own territory while their esteemed Wolf King did not? But they neglected a very important point, and that was that Snake did not have a partner. And when Snake first went to the Snake King Valley, it was not the Snake King Valley. It was just a place where Snake wandered around in the beast world out of boredom. When he reached there, he was tired and the weather there was just right. To Snake, the mountains in the beast world were no different, so he stayed there because he was too lazy to move his nest. Later on, the snake beasts were attracted by the Beast King and slowly gathered there, forming the Snake King Valley. Snake had never said that others were not allowed to step into the Snake King Valley. It was just that his reputation was too great. Other than the snake beasts, no one dared to go near him. After many generations, that place slowly became a forbidden area in the beast world and no one dared to step in again. But Elvis's situation was different. He had Gu Meng Meng by his side. Even though the thousands of mountains in the beast world were all the same to him, as long as these sceneries were in Gu Meng Meng's eyes, he would not use a valley or a mountain to block her footsteps. He wanted to be the Beast King so that his Xiao Meng could do whatever she wanted and not do whatever she wanted. If Gu Meng Meng was coerced by this Beast King status, wouldn't that be putting the cart before the horse? Saint Nazaire had their home. That cave where he and Leah could hold her hand and walk in together had a different meaning because Gu Meng Meng would always hold his and Lee's hands at the entrance. So no matter how busy he was, Xiao Meng would always make a trip back to Saint Nazaire every year. She said that it was a homecoming. Xiao Meng even said that she wanted to find green bricks and boulders in the Mecca desert to build a dragon inn to sell human meat bun. He promised her, so he had to make it a reality one day. There was a patch of grapevines in the stray beast camp and Xiao Meng liked those grapes very much. Every year during the rainy season, he would pluck grapes for Xiao Meng to use to brew wine. Although it was troublesome for Leah to get drunk, it was quite interesting to see the sly fox become as dumb as a dog after getting drunk. He still had many places to accompany Xiao Meng to see. How could he become complacent just because of a Beast King status? Raising his eyes, Elvis looked at the chattering wolf beasts in front of him. His gaze turned cold and he exuded an aura of authority without being angry. Everyone kept their mouths shut and looked at Elvis's expression carefully. Elvis gently cupped the area in front of his earlobe and said, "Because Snake stayed there, that place is called the Snake King Valley. Not because it's the Snake King Valley, so Snake has to stay there, understand?" The wolf beast felt that Elvis's words were a little tongue-twisting. He lowered his head and repeated it 2 to 3 times in his heart before he could barely understand. He then nodded his head. Elvis continued, "There's one more thing that I don't think you guys have figured out." His thin lips curled up with bloodthirstiness and coldness. Elvis replied without a trace of warmth in his gaze, "You guys needed me, so you took the initiative to come over. In my eyes, all of you are just ants, not worth mentioning. So, don't try to interfere with me. If any of you disturb my female and make her feel uncomfortable, I don't mind treating all of you as food. Chapter 12:28. With that, Elvis's gaze swept across everyone's faces coldly. Did he finally recognize his own status? Did he still think that gathering by the Beast King's side was like joining a new tribe, that as long as he was strong enough, he could make requests without fear in front of the tribe leader? Wishful thinking. Elvis leaped off the huge rock and walked past the wolf beasts. His steps were slow and unrestrained, as he walked nonchalantly. As he walked, he said, "Today is the first day I, the Beast King, have met all of you, so I have generously used up all my patience. There will not be another chance to talk like this in the future, so, all of you better behave yourselves." Not wanting to waste any more time, Elvis's gaze was locked onto a point. That was the direction of Sandy's house. He had already wasted enough time here, and now he just wanted to hug Gu Meng Meng and give her a kiss. He walked faster and faster like the wind. When he reached the boundary of Sandy's territory, he saw Gu Meng Meng and Sandy sitting at the door, talking. Sauter was not like Saint Nazaire, and Sandy's territory was only a few dozen meters in front of the door. This was already because of her special relationship with Gu Meng Meng and the special care given by the new leader, Hedda, so they received preferential treatment. Elvis had just walked closer when he saw Gu Meng Meng turn around and meet his eyes accurately. She then smiled at him with curved eyebrows. This smile dazzled Elvis's eyes. His previous devilish aura disappeared completely in an instant, and the corners of his lips curled up together with her smile. It was warm and radiant, completely unlike the Beast King who killed decisively just a moment ago. "Sandy, can I call Elvis over?" Gu Meng Meng held Sandy's little hand and asked. Sandy scrunched her nose and said, "Do you still have to treat me like an outsider? Since when did your family come to my place and not enter whenever they want?" Gu Meng Meng smiled sweetly and said, "We might be familiar, but we still have to show the necessary respect." Sandy pouted and pinched Gu Meng Meng's waist. Pretentious. Sandy did not use too much force, so it did not hurt at all. Instead, it tickled. Gu Meng Meng laughed and dodged. "So can I or not?" Okay, hurry up and invite your Wolf King in," Sandy said with a smile. "I'll explain everything to you once and for all. In the future, if you want to look for me, just come directly. You can bring whoever you want. You don't have to ask me to give permission one by one. It's a waste of my saliva. It's very troublesome." Gu Meng Meng glanced at Bode, who was standing at the side as if he was being punished, and said, "What kind of first partner are you? Didn't you hear my Sandy say she was thirsty? Aren't you going to pour some water?" Bode was very aggrieved, but he did not dare to resist. He could only obediently pour the water. Gu Meng Meng then waved at Elvis. "You clearly heard Sandy say that you can come in, why are you still standing there?" When Elvis's gaze met Gu Meng Meng's, he could not help but smile. His gaze was so gentle that water could be squeezed out of it. Step by step, he walked towards Gu Meng Meng and directly scooped her up into his arms. He rubbed against her neck and greedily inhaled the air that carried her fragrance. "I heard it, but I'm waiting for you to wave at me. I like the way you call me to your side. It's so beautiful." Chapter 12:29. Elvis chuckled and kissed her deeply on the lips. "My queen, if you say that, I won't be able to hold myself back, or do you want to return to the stone castle now?" Gu Meng Meng pushed Elvis lightly and said, "It's only afternoon, I want to stay here and have dinner with Sandy today." "What about me?" Elvis's face was full of resentment. Gu Meng Meng replied, "Of course you are staying to eat with us. Oratine and Colin have already gone hunting. With their strength, are you still afraid that there won't be enough prey to eat? But I want to eat you more." Elvis rubbed his face against her neck, full of affection. Gu Meng Meng blushed. "TSK, Sandy is here. She's the one who helped us take care of Hedda and his brothers. Do you think she would think that nothing happened between us?" Gu Meng Meng blushed even more. Knowing was one thing, but seeing was another, all right. Just like the three little leopards playing not far away. Their parents were standing in front of Gu Meng Meng, but she did not want to know the entire process of them giving birth to the leopards. That would be really awkward. "If you talk nonsense again, I won't keep you for dinner. You can go home and eat by yourself." Elvis knew that Gu Meng Meng would really get angry if he continued teasing her. He had already seen her shy look, which she had not seen for a long time, so he stopped while he was ahead. He pinched Gu Meng Meng's little nose and said, "All right, I won't say anything. Stop struggling and sit in my arms. The floor is cold." Gu Meng Meng saw that Elvis had stopped teasing her, so she took a step back and stopped struggling. After all, she liked Elvis's embrace very much. Leaning in his embrace made her feel very secure and comfortable. Perhaps it was because she was used to him hugging her, but when he wasn't around, she felt a little lost and uneasy. Now that his body heat surrounded her again, she felt very comfortable. Sandy covered her mouth and smiled. She hoped more than anyone else to see Gu Meng Meng, Elvis and Leah loving each other. As long as Gu Meng Meng could be happy, she would also feel very happy. Pulling Gu Meng Meng's little hand, he said, "Gu Meng Meng, I have something to discuss with you." Gu Meng Meng glanced sideways. "What's the matter? Is there a need to use the word discuss?" Usually, Sandy would directly say, "Gu Meng Meng, I want to do this and that." Just like when she decided to stay in Sauter and not return to St. Nazaire with her, she did not use the word discuss. Sandy looked at Elvis, then at Bode, who had just passed her a cup of water. "I want to choose a few partners from the wolf tribe." Gu Meng Meng was taken aback, then instinctively looked at Bode. Bode pursed his lips and did not speak. Gu Meng Meng smiled awkwardly and said, "This matter, you have to discuss it with your males." "How can you discuss it with me?" Sandy could not help but chuckle as he shook his head. "You're still the same. You know a lot of things that others can't even figure out, but you're still confused about the common knowledge in the beast world." Gu Meng Meng tilted her head with a question mark on her face. Sandy heaved a sigh of relief and continued, "In the beast world, females do not need to seek the male's permission to choose a new partner. Males who try to interfere or obstruct a female from accepting a new partner will be detested or even abandoned by the female." Chapter 12:30. Sandy looked straight into Gu Meng Meng's eyes and said, "In the past, I only wanted to mate with the males I liked. Because of this, the number of partners I had was always so low. My stubbornness limited the strength of the family, to the extent that when danger approached, my partners would be fighting alone and get injured time and time again. My family members also reduced from 9 to 4. Now that we have these 3 little ones, I cannot continue being stubborn. It is my duty to raise the power of the family, so I decided to expand the family members." Gu Meng Meng pursed her lips and did not interrupt. She could not accept the beast world's concept of love, but she could not force others to live according to her concept of love either. Sandy was not Gu Meng Meng, her partners were also not as strong as Elvis and Leah. She could not stay by Sandy's side forever to protect her, so what right did she have to restrict her from taking in new partners to raise the power of the family? Gu Meng Meng held Sandy's little hand and said, "No matter what decision you make, as long as it makes you happy, I will support you." Sandy smiled and said, I had originally planned to take in new partners during the rainy season, so that there would be a few helpers in the family when we are storing food, and Bode and the rest would not have to work so hard. But now, since I have to take in partners, why not just take in a few wolf beasts? Gu Meng Meng thought about it and instantly understood Sandy's meaning. Her smile froze on her face and was replaced by heartache. You want to use your own partner to promote the integration of the wolf beasts and solder. Gu Meng Meng frowned and said, Sandy, I do not object to you wanting to raise the power of the family, nor do I object to you wanting to take in new partners, but I do not wish for you to suffer. After all, you are going to be taking in partners. I still hope that you can choose the one you like. Sandy's gaze landed on Colin, who was carrying the prey with Oritin and walking back. Her gaze was as gentle as water and she said, haven't I already kept the one I really like by my side? Choosing again depends on their power. The wolf beasts are an outsider tribe. If they were to rush in all at once, there would definitely be friction with the snow fox tribe. In addition to the 16 tribes that submitted last year, the three powers would have to work together. Hedda is really not easy to be the leader. The Snow Fox tribe's network is very complicated and it is not something I can interfere with. Because of Oakley, the 16 tribes have always kept a distance from us. It's too difficult to subdue them. Sighing, Sandy smiled at Gu Meng Meng. The wolf tribe is different. Elvis is the wolf king, while Hedda and Jiaoyu are the young masters of the wolf tribe. It's just that the two of them are still not strong enough. It's still fine when Elvis is around, but you and Elvis will not stay in solder forever. Once you leave, I'm worried that Hedda and Jiaoyu, these two level 1 brats, won't be able to control this pack of wolf beasts, then the situation will become even more chaotic. For the past year, Sandy had tried her best to take care of Hedda and Jiaoyu. She had almost given Colin to the two rascals, afraid that they would suffer outside. She was really more worried than her biological mother. The little female, who was originally innocent and carefree, gradually learned to analyze the pros and cons of the situation. Too many things had happened this year. Unknowingly, Sandy had grown up. Chapter 1231. Only after scabs and scars were formed did the true meaning of time settle down. This kind of growth was irreversible. Just like how Snake's death made Gu Meng Meng age 1,000 years overnight, Elvis and Leah used 2 years to gradually pull her out of that kind of growth. The two of them had spoiled her so much that she was like a child again, but only she knew that there were some things that she couldn't go back to. She kept reminding herself to be happy, to be cheerful, and not to let the people around her suffer because of her emotions, but it was like she was being torn apart. One was desperately smiling under the sun, and the other was secretly crying at night. How many times had she dreamt that Elvis would carry her back to the cave like a broken rag doll after she was torn apart by Ellie, kissing her while saying, so it turns out that teasing a married woman will really incur the wrath of the heavens, they will cut open your chest and take out your gallbladder. She would wake up in shock from her dreams, but other than widening her eyes, she did not even dare to sit up and scream, afraid that Elvis and Leah would find out that she was having a nightmare again. What about Sandy? Out of the 9 partners, only 4 remained. Did that mean that Sandy had suffered 5 times the pain that Gu Meng Meng had suffered? After all, she would only mate with males she liked. How could Gu Meng Meng not feel sorry for her growth? Holding on to Sandy's little hand, Gu Meng Meng did not know what to say to comfort her. Only after experiencing the same thing did he know how useless those words that could easily be said to comfort others were. If the knife didn't stab itself, anyone could say, how painful can it be? Just bear with it and it will be over. Sandy replied with a smile, don't worry, I'm fine now. Gu Meng Meng jumped out of Elvis's arms and hugged Sandy. Yeah, I believe you. Sandy hugged Gu Meng Meng back and heaved a deep sigh, as if all the grievances she had been suppressing in her heart for a long time had been released. He then sat up straight and continued, my current idea is to choose a few strong people from the wolf beasts. It would be best if they could break through the 3rd level and enter the 4th level after mating. This way, after all of you leave after the dry season, Hedda and Jialyu will have their own people to use. At that time, with their identities and my partner's strength, I believe that no one in the wolf clan will dare to have second thoughts. Gu Mengmeng chuckled and said, you said you want to increase the power of your family, but you are actually trying to form a marriage alliance with the wolf clan, right? Sandy smiled lightly and said, the marriage is true, but it is also true that he wants to increase the family's strength. I'm taking the initiative to discuss this with you because I'm afraid you'll overthink things. Gu Mengmeng pinched Sandy and said, I am already imagining things. Sandy shook his head and said, don't think too much. Gu Mengmeng said, Elvis is the Wolf King and he is my partner. To the wolf tribe, this is already the most beneficial marriage. You really don't have to suffer. Sandy smiled and said, but you won't be staying in Sodor forever, so I, who has a close relationship with the Wolf King's family, am the most suitable candidate for marriage. Anyway, I was going to choose a new partner anyway. Because of your relationship with Elvis, my range of choices as a half-orc female has become much wider. In other words, I am the one who has the upper hand. Why do you look like I'm the one who suffered a loss? Chapter 1232. After returning from Sandy's house, Gu Mengmeng snuggled into Elvis's chest and asked, is the matter with the wolf clan troublesome? Elvis shook his head. The wolf tribe has nothing to settle. I'm the Wolf King, they don't dare to disobey me. So, I'm just going to tell them my rules unilaterally. It's not difficult at all. Strength reigns supreme, simple and violent. That's good too, at least they won't take up too much of your time. Gu Mengmeng leaned against Elvis's chest and said nonchalantly. How would Elvis not know what she was worried about? Worried about Sandy? He asked calmly. Gu Mengmeng nodded. Elvis said, no matter which wolf beast Sandy mates with, as long as I am alive, no one will dare to bully her. So you don't have to worry. Gu Mengmeng pouted and said, but what if the other party's character is not good? What if he's a scumbag? What if he has ulterior motives for approaching Sandy? Elvis had heard many modern stories from Gu Mengmeng, so he had a certain understanding of the term scumbag. Chuckling, he rubbed Gu Mengmeng's little head and said, don't you know what happens to males in the beast world once they mate? Gu Mengmeng was taken aback and Xian Ji smiled. Yes, what was she worried about? Once a male in the beast world mated, it was equivalent to completely abandoning his ego and getting closer to the way the female liked him. Elvis and Leah were the same, Bode and Colin were the same, even Nina's eagle beast partner Quentin was the same. Scumbag. There was no such thing. With that thought, Gu Mengmeng felt much better. Objectively speaking, Sandy's thinking was mature and rational. She had no reason to stop her. But as her best friend, Gu Mengmeng felt that it was necessary to check on her. So she wrapped her arms around Elvis's neck and asked, didn't you meet them this afternoon? Are there any better ones who are honest, loyal, and powerful? It's best if they're good-looking, understanding, gentle, and considerate. Elvis smiled helplessly and said, in front of me, do you think they have the chance to display those qualities you mentioned just now? Gu Mengmeng was suddenly speechless. That's right, which male would display his understanding, gentleness and consideration in front of Elvis? That scene was too beautiful, she would probably be smacked to death by Elvis. Gu Mengmeng was a little conflicted. Should she go to the wolf clan to find out more? However, her identity did not seem to be suitable. If she appeared, what if the males mistakenly thought that she was looking for a new partner? After all, the act of taking the initiative to appear at a gathering place full of single males was enough to hint to the males in the beast world. She did not want to attract any more lousy men. If a male really stuck to her because of a misunderstanding, Elvis might really kill him. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's little hand and said, "Our Elvis's promotion to Wolf King is such a big thing, aren't we going to hold a campfire party to celebrate?" Gu Mingming's eyes brightened. "That's right. A bonfire party." Usually, the bonfire party was a blind date in disguise, so she could openly help Sandy pick out these males. Chapter 1233. Elvis gave the pack of wolves beside him a look, and one of them turned around and ran off. It seemed like he was going to pass on the message. The next day, Elvis stayed with Gu Mengmeng at Sandy's house, discussing with her about the night campfire party. As the witch doctor, Leah had to host this night campfire party. Sauter originally had a witch doctor, but he was killed by Cole. The 16 tribes also had witch doctors, but none of them were willing to submit to each other. It would be a huge problem for anyone to host this kind of party, so Leah had to host it personally. The male of the messenger of the beast deity, the ninth highness of Sauter, a member of the Wolf King's family. With these three identities, all the current forces in Sauter had to give him face. Oritin had the biggest objection to this matter. His expression was not good the entire day, looking like he wanted to bite anyone he saw. Originally, there were 3 meals a day, but now, there was only 1 meal for dinner. His mood was really not good. But, it seemed like no one cared about this matter. In the evening, Gu Mengmeng was already extremely anxious. She pulled Sandy along to get a good spot at the campfire party. But she was the messenger of the beast deity. Her campfire was always the center of the scene, how could there be a better spot? As for Sandy, although she was a half-orc, because of Gu Mengmeng, her campfire was always right next to Gu Mengmeng. There was no need to occupy these 2 spots, no one would dare to snatch them. But Sandy did not stop Gu Mengmeng. After all, ever since Snake died, Gu Mengmeng had rarely been this excited. It was the same the last time she gave birth. The people in the tribe were all talking about Li's joke. If they were not sure that Gu Mengmeng was a female, they would have thought that she was giving birth to her child. It was the same this time. She was the one choosing her partner, but she was even more concerned and nervous than herself. She even started biting her nails at the parts that she was nervous about just now. But it was this rash Gu Mengmeng who was so reliable at crucial times. She saved her from danger time and time again. It was as if no matter what happened, as long as she was around, Sandy would feel at ease. When the 2 of them appeared at the campfire party together, it caused quite a commotion. After all, it was the first time the 16 tribes and the Wolf tribe had attended a campfire party with Gu Mengmeng present. Especially after Elvis leveled up, their family's influence in the beast world was even more so not to be underestimated. The messenger of the beast deity was amazing. Her first partner was a beast king, her suitor was a beast king, and she herself was a beast king. There were only 3 beast kings in the entire beast world and she had gathered all of them. It was just that no one dared to say these words in front of her. The bonfire on Gu Mingming's left was Sandy's, while on her right was Ray, who was carrying a tiny snow fox in her arms. It was a young female that had just been born last winter. She was not even half a year old and had yet to transform. However, her parents were both perfect orcs, so there was a high chance that the little fellow was a perfect female. Sauter only had 1 young female, so naturally, she was more valuable than Philly and Lacey, who had given birth to 2 litters of males. Mothers were more valuable because of their daughters. So according to the beauty contest rules announced by Gu Mengmeng at St. Nazaire at the end of winter this year, Ray had become the first beauty of Sauter and naturally had the right to sit beside Gu Mengmeng. Chapter 1234. It was not that Gu Mengmeng could not tell that Rei's action was a demonstration to the 16 tribes and the wolf clan. She was trying to prove that the Snow Fox tribe was the tribe closest to Gu Mengmeng, because they had been the messenger's tribe since the previous messenger of the beast deity was alive. Now that their ninth highness was the messenger's partner, the young females of the Snow Fox tribe had the right to ask the messenger to bestow a name upon them. This was the reason why Gu Mengmeng firmly rejected Oakley when he asked her if she wanted to unify the beast world. Once you were in a high position, you would never be able to break away from disputes. All the scheming would revolve around you and there was no way to avoid it. But, if she rejected Rei's request today, then the little female in her arms would suffer for the rest of her life because of the false accusation of not being liked by the emissary. Because not being liked by the messenger of the beast deity was equivalent to not being cared for by the beast deity. Who would dare to want such a female? Sighing, Gu Mengmeng reached out her arms and said, "Let me hug you." Rei was overjoyed as he handed the young female to Gu Mengmeng. It felt so good. The pure white and soft fur was so soft that the little fellow felt comfortable from Gu Mengmeng's touch. He squinted his eyes and raised his head, letting out a low purr. He wrapped his tail around his body and curled himself into a ball, nestling in Gu Mengmeng's arms obediently. He stuck out his little tongue to lick Gu Mengmeng's fingers from time to time, looking obedient and cute. Gu Mengmeng could not bear to let go after hugging him like this. After all, her sons were all grown up. Knowing that Sandy had once thought of choosing one of the 3 brothers to be her child husband, she no longer dared to casually carry other people's male cubs. Furthermore, although Leah and Elvis often transformed into their beast forms to satisfy her furry fetish, honestly speaking, the big fox and the little fox could not be compared in terms of cuteness. Everything was the same. The smaller the cuter. Looking at the little fellow in her arms, Gu Mengmeng's entire being warmed up and she did not bother about Rei's little thoughts anymore. I wasn't prepared for your sudden question. I'm not good at naming things anyway. Rei could not help but frown, her face full of disappointment. Gu Mengmeng chuckled and continued, "So, let's just copy it. In our world, there was a fox who was famous for her beauty and was a household name. I think this little fellow will definitely be more beautiful than her when she grows up, so I might as well steal her name and use it." The messenger of the beast deity was helping her child snatch a name. And it was snatched from the beast god's world. Both of Rei's eyes lit up. Gu Mengmeng smiled and teased the little fox, "How about calling you Dodgy?" Squeak, 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 the little fox squeaked. Gu Mengmeng glanced sideways at Rei. After all, Gu Mengmeng did not understand fox meowing. Rei laughed so hard that she almost cried. She knelt on the ground and kowtowed to express her gratitude. Dodgy said that she likes this name very much. "Thank you, Lord Messenger, for giving me this name." Gu Mengmeng gave Rei a hand and said, "All right, the name has been decided. You can carry the child back." Rei pursed her lips, lowered her eyes and said carefully, "Is there anything else?" Gu Mengmeng was displeased. She did not like people who pushed their luck. Chapter 1235. Damn! She was eyeing her son, wasn't she? Gu Mengmeng's eyes widened, feeling incredulous. In fact, her son was only 2 years old this year. He was born 2 years earlier than this lass, so their ages were compatible. But the problem was that her son was already a first-level orc and looked like 2 high school students, while the one in her arms should still be biting on a pacifier and wearing a diaper. She could not accept it. But, the ratio of males and females in the beast world was so different, it was not a bad idea to raise a child bride. Gu Mengmeng hesitated, she wanted to agree but was afraid that Heda and his brothers would not like arranged marriages. Rei did not know what Gu Mengmeng meant by not saying anything and could only continue, if the great messenger doesn't mind, you can hand Dodgy over to leader Huda to raise. The two of them will develop a relationship from young and will definitely get along well in the future. And with the great messenger's personal guidance, Dodgy will definitely grow into an outstanding female. What she meant was that you could bring her home now and then educate her according to your preferences, raising her into a daughter-in-law that you would definitely be satisfied with. Was that what she meant? To be honest, Gu Mengmeng was very tempted. She glanced at Huda, who was sitting at the side, watching the show. Although Ray had specifically pointed out Dodgy to be given to Huda, but no matter how few females there were, Gu Mengmeng's son could not be so easily accepted, right? Huda smiled calmly and walked to Gu Mengmeng. Mother, I am still a first-level orc now. I have to busy myself with the affairs of the tribe and think of ways to level up as soon as possible. I really do not have the energy to take care of a little female. But since Ray has such good intentions, I can't reject her. Why don't I temporarily place Dodgy in mother-in-law's house? Firstly, it will be easier to develop a relationship, and secondly, if anything happens in the future, Dodgy's reputation will not be ruined. As for mating, let's wait for Dodgy to grow up a little more. Placing her in Sandy's house was indeed the most suitable. Because Sandy did not belong to any of the three factions. She was a firm supporter of Gu Mengmeng and did not ally with anyone else other than Gu Mengmeng. Moreover, the four sons of the messenger were often raised in Sandy's house when they were young. Everyone in the tribe knew that Huda and Jiaoyu still called Sandy mother-in-law, which meant that their daughter-in-law must be raised by Sandy. Therefore, handing Dodgy over to Sandy to raise was basically equivalent to an engagement. Moreover, as long as Dodgy was in Sandy's house, Ray would have the opportunity and reason to get closer to Sandy. This was naturally the best situation for the Snow Fox clan. Therefore, Ray didn't object. She just looked at Sandy and said with a smile, "Sister Sandy, then I'll have to trouble you to take Dodgy." How could Sandy not know what Huda was planning? He smiled and glared at Huda, but didn't expose him. He just nodded and said, "It's no trouble, I like children anyway." Thus, this matter was settled. Since Dodgy was to be raised in Sandy's house, Gu Mengmeng did not need to return her to Ray. She cherished her as much as she could and would occasionally give Leo a look, clearly saying, "Even if you don't let me give birth, I can still play with her." This little ball might be his daughter-in-law in the future. Haha, a mother-in-law who had molested her daughter-in-law. Gu Mengmeng felt that she was about to ascend to the heavens. Chapter 1236. After Ray retreated to the side of the bonfire, Leah pinched Gu Mengmeng's little face and said, "Don't carry me home." Why? Gu Mengmeng felt aggrieved. Today, Sandy was going to choose her partner. That night, she would definitely applaud for love. Dodgy was a milk bun, and a female at that. How inconvenient would it be to bring her back? Whoever's wife will have to take care of himself. Elvis and I will not take care of females other than you. Then I'll take care of myself. You're not free. I'm free. Gu Mengmeng insisted. Leah chuckled. If you carry her back, I can guarantee that you won't be free for the next 3 days. Damn it, Gu Mengmeng was terrified. Humph. If you don't want to bring it, then so be it. Leah then smiled and said, "Good girl." With that, Leah walked to the middle of the field surrounded by the bonfire. Today's bonfire was purposely lit in such a manner. The original 9 Snow Fox females in solder, the 42 females from the 16 tribes, plus Sandy and Gu Mengmeng made up a total of 53 bonfires that formed a huge circle. In the middle was an open space that was filled with fresh straw. Leah stood in the middle of the empty space and said, "Today is the night campfire party to celebrate the birth of another beast king in the beast world. Thank you, beast deity, for bestowing us with strength. Thank you, messenger, for bringing us towards hope. Thank you, Lord Beast God, thank you, Lord Messenger. The continuous shouts made Gu Mengmeng feel like she was in a cult. He smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything. Leah waited for everyone to shout their slogan a few times before gesturing for them to stop. Then, he continued, Solder has grown a lot in these 2 years with many new members. We can take this opportunity to learn from each other and get to know each other better. At the same time, we can also develop some rapport. After Leah finished speaking, he smiled devilishly. This smile made all the males present immediately understand what was going on. The raging flames of war spread in an instant. All the males became eager and rubbed their fists and palms together. Even Elvis tensed up his muscles due to the atmosphere, having the desire to rush up and kill. Gu Mengmeng poked Elvis and he cleared his throat awkwardly. It's my battle instinct, I'm used to it. Gu Mengmeng did not say a word and just turned to look at Leah. Leah continued, Solder now has 53 females. No other tribe in the beast world can compare to Solder. But warriors, you were born in such a happy tribe, and you are still single. Isn't this a kind of humiliation? Roar. 2 male instincts, the attack instinct and the mating instinct. Just flirting with any one of them could cause a huge commotion, but Leah easily flirted with both of them. If a male could still remain calm, that would really be a miracle. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.